Walter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P.A.C.E Radio Show. We are live. Yes, we are. We are live here at lifestyleradio.ca or .net, or you can catch us over at 420radio.ca as well. My name is Al Graham. During our intro music, the Killing Time Band says more of us need to speak up, and we're here to help them out. We're here to give you a spot to have a voice and achieve that goal. Tonight, my joint host is Saskatchewan-based Alicia Yashcheshen, and her guest tonight likes to help patients with getting their access to medical cannabis that they require. But as always, we like to have a little talk first before bringing the guest in. And what are we going to talk about tonight, Alicia?
I think that we should talk about the raids in Toronto that are currently still happening.
Oh, yeah. Constant. Yes, they went at the canna clinics, raided several of them in the city, and I believe in Vancouver as well.
Yeah, and they said that they seized something like 200 kg of marijuana and over $350,000 worth of cash.
Yes, yeah, that dangerous cash.
Yeah, and it almost seems as though it's just for the government to get some free cash. There's no safety risk involved here.
No.
At the end of the day, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah, it says here the raids were carried out last Thursday. 19 locations, 13 were in Toronto.
Yep.
7 of the raids took place in canna clinic stores, and the others were happening at private residences. They called it Project Lincoln. Yeah, Project Lincoln. They arrested 80 canna clinic employees that have been charged. Now, from what I've seen, all these past raids, all these employees, the charges have been basically dropped.
Yep.
And they've been going they've been going after the owners, but as far as the staff, some of the staff, they've been let go. Yeah, the 80 people. Wow, that's a huge amount.
At this point, it's not about cannabis and it's not about public safety. It's about money. It's about the dollar.
Yeah.
And the public should be just outraged that someone would come into a lawful business like that and raid them for ridiculous reasons besides something reasonable like safety. If they're not causing harm or any type of safety risk, then they should leave them alone.
Yeah. If they're not doing...
That's just morally right. Like, the law is the law, but Justin Trudeau himself broke the law, and so he's a hypocrite. His whole government is a bunch of hypocrites.
Well, he has come out and admitted to breaking the law, even while being an MP.
And his own father suppressed his brother's cannabis arrest. And so this hypocrisy of this double standard needs to go, because that's what the Liberal Party is notoriously known for, is this elitism. And as far as I'm concerned, I have no use for it.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to cannabis.
Yeah, it's they've pissed a lot of people off, and on both sides of the equation, I would say. Now here that raid, 176 kgs marijuana, 48 kgs of THC edible products, 6.8 kgs of shatter. A very high potent version of pot is what it says.
But how did they determine this? What scientific tests have you conducted on these products?
I don't know. Did
they are potent products? That's propaganda.
Yeah. Did they weigh the whole cookie? You know, did they weigh the whole cookie? And that's how much THC was in there. Like, is that 48 kilograms total of everything? You know, not just what's in the.
My hope with this situation, with these raids, is that all of these dispensary owners get together in some capacity and class action sue the Toronto City Police. It just has to happen.
It has to happen. Well, from my understanding, last I knew, there was one of the dispensaries was looking at a charter challenge. So.
Yeah, there was a case that was going to the courts. I haven't heard much about it, and hopefully it's successful. But
yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, let's go to court. That's the only recourse that we have in any regard in this society that we live in, right?
It's right. Just one quick thing before we bring in our guest. Here we are a week away from July 1st. What are you guys doing getting frost warnings?
In Saskatchewan, we're going to put on our parkas and we're going to celebrate July 1st in the park, and hopefully it doesn't snow. I can come down now for our snowy July 1st. Supposing it won't snow. Let's have some faith in the Saskatchewan weather that it'll turn around and we'll get a summer.
Well, if it snows, there could be some red to go with that white. So, alrighty, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, it's time to bring in our guests. And who I said is somebody who likes to help patients with getting the medical cannabis that they require. And so I'd like to welcome Olivia Brown to the P.A.C.E Radio Show. Hello, Olivia. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm doing great. Great. Thanks.
Great. Your Skype sounds like it's working good.
Yes, absolutely.
Just so you know, I'm in a storefront. I'm in the front window looking outside. I'm a Canada Day,
nice.
Yeah, you should see this retro camper in front of me. It's got like the wings off the back end of a 1955 Chev.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
But enough with me. But what I'm doing here, Olivia, normally what we do here, and our listeners know, is I usually pass the torch over my joint host so they can get the questions going, and I always jump in as we go along.
Great.
All right. Okay. Over to you, Alicia.
All right. Well, welcome, Olivia. We're very happy to have you on this show. So exciting. So I guess we'll first start by take us to when you discovered cannabis and how cannabis came into your life.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
It's okay. We got 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for
sure. My parents grew up in the 60s. So when I was in the basement as a child, they had their old Woodstock records. So I used to play the music, and when it came on video, I watched it and saw everyone smoking joints. And I don't know, I think we just instinctually know what it is. We know it's not cigarettes, and it's got a very pleasant odor. So the first time I tried cannabis, I was 13. It was the summer between grade 8 and grade 9. And I'm really sensitive, and the first 2 puffs, I could actually feel it hit all my cannabinoid sensors and everything throughout my body, my arms and my head and my legs and stuff. So I've been a fan of it right since the beginning.
So you could actually feel like your cannabinoid system being activated by ingesting this cannabis. Wow.
Yep.
And so was it just like a vibration that you kind of felt, or was it like a...
kind of. It was kind of... so you're aware that the human body has, a small amount of electricity in it at all times. It just kind of felt like certain light bulbs were turning on. It was a very pleasant feeling, but very noticeable to me.
And so had something in your, body changed after your first experience with cannabis?
Something must have, because I immediately loved it and I immediately was interested in how it worked in a research kind of way. And I immediately knew that this was something that I wanted very close to me for my entire life.
Nice. And so then you used cannabis throughout your teens. And
Yeah, I had to. I was one of those. I was one of those teenagers and young adults that I had a little bit of a hard time in my teens and 20s. I'm not sure why, just maybe different confidence reasons and other things. But I had terrible anxiety in high school. Not so much depression. I was happy with myself. But I had severe anxiety as a child, and I found immediately that cannabis treated it successfully.
Nice. And so did you go down the pharmaceutical path with your anxiety and such, or was cannabis luckily there to step in?
Well, I did well for a few years. However, I didn't graduate high school, and I made a couple poor life decisions in my mid and late teens. At one point, I did seek some pharmaceuticals, and I had a really, really bad mental reaction to I think it was Prozac. I'm not sure if it was Prozac or Zoloft, but I'm pretty sure it was Prozac, and that potentially could have ended up really bad for me. Thankfully it didn't, but that's when I realized that pharmaceuticals weren't for me. I was about between 19 and 20 at that time.
Oh, nice. That's a good thing. And so then you were medicating with cannabis, and then what brought you kind of to the medical cannabis besides, I guess, own personal reasons and such? Like, had you always been using it as a medicine and kind of going through life and...
Yeah, well, I knew even as a child that it was not, and this is why I don't like these labels, even when I was using it recreationally, I knew it was medically helping me, like mentally, emotionally, physically. I had a deep understanding that this was a good, safe thing that should be a part of my life. Like, very similar to water and clean oxygen. I knew it was very good for me. So my family has always been a little bit outspoken and a little bit political. So when I was in grade 9 at high school, after I'd had a beautiful love affair with cannabis throughout the summer, I decided to join the student council, and I won vice president of the class. And my first order of business was to organize a legalized marijuana march, because back then we didn't call it cannabis. And as soon as the principal found out, I was immediately and swiftly dismissed from my position.
Really?
And absolutely, and threatened by the principal as well.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Did he suspend you?
No, but if I had tried to carry on, there was an understanding that suspension would be the least of my problems.
You were doing what the student body requested.
I'm pretty sure it was my idea, but it was not a new idea. This idea had been tossed around in the 60s and the 70s, and probably since Prohibition in the 30s. So what I was trying to do was nothing new. However, me being an individual to not be scared and to take action, that was new, and they weren't used to that. So they knew right then that I was a leader type, and I was shunned for the rest of high school, which probably had a big to do with my anxiety as well.
Yeah, and like you say, Zealand.
So this happened in October of grade 9. So you can imagine the rest of my high school career was them just keeping me out of everything. I wasn't allowed to join any teams, any political things. I wasn't allowed to. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go on the ski trip that all my friends went on to Ottawa.
That's like blatant discrimination.
You were blackballed the first month you were in high school.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. So I've been fighting for this ever since, but because of my negative experience, I kind of quieted down until 2011 when I saw Run from the Cure, the Rick Simpson movie. And that reignited everything, and it's been nonstop ever since.
And so when you say nonstop, what does that mean? So you've created a career with cannabis?
Well, yeah, actually, it's evolved. A number of things have evolved together, spiritually,
nice,
education-wise, and So I guess I can say I started as an activist, and I wasn't satisfied or comfortable, giving medical advice and not being educated. So that's when it turned from being an activist to being a professional.
Mm. Nice. And so you said that you had gotten some education in terms of cannabis. Where was that, or what? What is your journey in terms of?
I have lots of education with cannabis.
Nice.
So I have 3 different educational sources. One is healer.com with Dustin Sudak. He's a MD. I think he has about 30,000 patients currently that he's been treating he works out of the United States. The second one is Green Flower Media. They're a great company that all they care about is cannabis education. So you can, pay a monthly fee and become an insider to this great company and this great website, and you just have access and you're privy to a ridiculous amount of credible, documented cannabis education. But more importantly, my accredited education is through the Medical Cannabis Institute .com, and they offer a university level education in medical cannabis. It's a continuing medical education course. There's 12 courses total. I have all of them, and it's approved by the American Medical Association and the Canadian Medical Association.
Very nice.
So
awesome.
I've been really busy for about 6 years. That's why when people try to, discourage me or defame what I'm doing, or wonder why I charge for my services, it just makes me laugh now, because I've put almost 10 years of education and starting 2 businesses, and literally put my family on hold. And I can't tell you how many times I've ignored my young children because I'm busy doing something, whether it be completing school or helping a patient, and just a lot goes into it behind the scenes that people have no idea. And I've done a lot to get to where I am, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Oh, it affects everybody. Awesome. when you're off training, no matter what it is.
Yeah. People have no idea what goes into, like, even what you do, Al. Like, people have no idea the hours and hours of the stuff that you guys do behind the scenes. They just get the finished package and think, that's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
exactly. And because there is. Go ahead, Alicia.
I was just going to say, when you're successful, you're always going to have the naysayers, no matter what industry you are. But,
that took a little getting used to, but I figured out really quick that if I've got, people that hate me, if I've got those haters, I must be doing well.
Yeah.
Because nobody notices you if you're not doing anything. But if people are noticing me, and I don't care if they like me or not, or agree with what I'm doing, I'm getting noticed. So that's fine. Yeah. And what? I've got 400 patients. and I haven't got any complaints from any of those. And those are the people that I care about.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. You know, they're the ones that obviously have never said anything. They're happy with everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we got.
So,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say. So you mentioned that you have over 400 patients. So,
yes.
Take us there. Like they have, I suspect, ailments of all different diversities.
Yeah, literally now you can name something, and I've probably worked with it before.
Seen it. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so in your education and training and such, I'm sure that you've come across all of these different types of diseases and ailments that can be cured with cannabis.
Yeah, I'm not hesitant to say cured, but I think that's a word that a lot of people bank on and hold on to.
Yeah.
And I have seen, people not make it, and it's just it is a cure. It really, really is. But I'm not trying to be mean, but I just need to say this publicly. If you have been ravaging your body with whatever, alcohol, cigarettes, stress, whatever, environmental, emotional, if you've been, not taking care of yourself for 40, 50, 60 years, and you're not in great health, this isn't going to make you 20 years old again with no health problems in a week. Like you can't, you can't undo 60 years of neglect and abuse, and then think, getting 60 grams of this oil is, going to save your life and turn you around and blah 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 blah, and you're okay. I've seen it happen, but it's a miracle. It's not a end all of every illness and disease out there. Yeah, but if you already have a healthy body and a functioning endocannabinoid system, it should treat, prevent, and prevent. I think the list is growing, but I think it's 50,000 different ailments right now. Nice. So yeah. But I've just seen a lot of very sick people that have been sick for 10 years and for whatever reason haven't said anything. Whether they've been busy or in denial, and then been told. And I've seen this. I've experienced this. People have their doctors tell them, you've got 2 months to live, and they call me and expect me to turn things around in 2 months. And unfortunately, that I have not been able to do that sometimes.
Yeah. No, I like to, basically what I tell people is I don't look at it as a cure. I look at it as a quality improvement in your life.
Yeah, I have an understanding of how it works in the body, so I would never underestimate this medicine.
Correct.
ever again.
I agree. We all have our stories. Okay, time for a break. When we go, we're going to hear a little bit of from KTV. And their song, well, we're talking a little bit about this. Don't be bitter. Then Alicia.
That's fantastic.
Then when Alicia and I we'll continue our conversation with Olivia Brown when we get back. You're listening to the P.A.C.E Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.net and .ca.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
When someone's pissing you off, don't get angry. No. Reach in your pocket and get stoned, my friend.
Okay.
Don't be bitter. Just smoke a one-hitter. The whole world's going down a shitter.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
CTCP now operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a P.A.C.E information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Listen to the words I'm singing. Yeah, everybody knows when your temper blows, just take a step back when it comes to blows. And baby, just rethink it. Don't let a spoiled, overstuffed suit ruin your buzz or lift your boots. Just turn your eyes and forget it.
Hey, we're back, and we are the P.A.C.E Radio Show, and we are live here at lifestyleradio.net and .ca, as well as we're live at Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Shoutcast as well. Just to let everybody know that this weekend, this weekend. Coming up, July 1st, Lifestyle Radio and the 420radio.ca website will be broadcasting another 420 Roadshow special. This time we're off to Shannonville and Snaganaga, Mohawk territory down there for the grand opening of Legacy 420 and their new store. We're going to do that just live after lunch, and we'll spend a few hours learning about Legacy 420, what it's achieved, the future looks for them. We'll also talk to members of NIMCA, which is the Northern Indigenous Medical Cannabis Association, and what their goals are. This is really starting to roll pretty big. Legacy 420, if you haven't heard about them, we discussed the raids earlier. This place is not getting raided, and it's been visited by the police, but it's been left alone. So they've gone from a small store to a 7,500 square foot building. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So tune in Saturday, just after lunch, as we catch another installment of the 420 Roadshow here at Lifestyle Radio and the 420radio.ca website. Tonight on the program, joined by our guest, Olivia Brown, and my joint host, Alicia Yashcheshen. Well, ladies, we're into the second segment. Olivia, in the first segment, we talked about your education and some of the training that you did. And what has that led to achieving as far as...
Oh, well, actually, I'm actually not finished with my education.
Aren't you? Oh,
No. So,
good.
So, learning about medical cannabis at a university level is great. That's just fantastic. However, it's not enough to legally, I think, and morally get patients and treat people. For that, you need to go to school and you need to become a licensed and insured practitioner. So I did that. I'm a reflexologist. I'm registered in Ontario and Canada, so provincially and federally. I'm also insured, interestingly enough, to treat humans and animals, because I understand that this medicine can help animals. So I wanted to legally be able to treat people, give them advice, charge them, and show them, here are my credentials, and this is why I charge what I charge, just like any other licensed professional.
So, and this is all created your own company.
Yes, So I did a company forming. It took me about 2 years to fully understand what I wanted to do and how exactly to do it.
And that company's what you call the Professional Cannabis Consulting Incorporated?
Yes, actually, I recently am incorporated, and I'm obligated to make that knowledge privy to anybody. So yes, so you're not dealing with an individual; it's a corporation now, and I'm an agent for Professional Cannabis Consulting. But I also have another registered business. I have two businesses, and the other one is Way of the Flower Cannabis Infused Reflexology. And I believe I'm one of the first ones in Canada to do that.
Nice. And what then the benefit? I don't know a lot about reflexology. As soon as I get this question done, I'll throw the torch over to Alicia. Yeah. But cannabis infused reflexology. How does the cannabis infusion work with all this?
Well, I thought about this for quite a while, and I believe that cannabis should be incorporated in every single way in your everyday life, including, soap, laundry detergent, shampoo, creams, tea, food, everything. And I'm in no way joking. So when I thought of this reflexology business, I thought of other businesses similar, like massages and float therapies, detoxing, and other kind of new age businesses that take care of people, and what sort of things do they offer that I could offer mind you, I'm working out of a home office in a basement, and I have 3 children, so I'm not able to offer, something like a spa, but I wanted to give the individuals a really, really pleasant experience. So I discovered 3 or 4 ways that I could incorporate cannabis into a 1-hour-long reflexology treatment. So the first is I offer them a cannabis-infused tea so they can, relax while they prepare for their treatment. It's a good idea with reflexology, which centers around the head and face and hands and feet. Some people are uncomfortable with their feet, so I like to offer them a foot bath. Get everything clean and nice and warm and, get the blood flowing. So I offer them a cannabis-infused foot bath. So that's the second thing. The third way that I discovered that I can incorporate it into the treatment is topically. So at the end of a reflexology treatment, I like to give a 10-minute massage. People usually fall asleep, which is nice. But I discovered that when it's used topically, especially mixed with other creams and lotions, it can absorb into the skin up to an inch into the muscles and the deep tissue. So it just made sense for me. People come to me in severe pain and in even minor pain, and I just knew it would help, and it really did.
Great, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good that we're able to learn those things and put them to use and benefit the patients.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, Alicia.
So I just have some questions about dosing. When you advise your patients, I guess it's different in every situation, but as kind of like a general synopsis of what people should be expecting when it comes to dosing. Some people say that minute dosing is the way to go, and some say large doses are the way to go. So I guess if we could get some feedback on that.
That's really interesting you should say that. So there has been, and even with Rick Simpson's team, back before I even knew anything, I think 1995 and up to about 2003, when Rick Simpson and his team were trying to treat people like I did, there's a lot of trial and error in this medicine. And, most of us caregivers in the beginning, especially 5-10 years ago, we weren't educated in anything much. We were just, really, really nice, good-hearted people that genuinely cared about the health of the rest of the country. I think dosing, I have learned a lot. So I have made a few errors with suggestions, and there have been a few, mind you, this is totally harmless, but I have gotten the overdose phone call, which as a caregiver, you never want to get any of those. So, there was a 76-year-old lady who took a capsule that she made, and I had accurately dosed it as 100 milligrams, which is a good daily maintenance dose. 100 milligrams is 1/10 of a gram. It's about the equivalent of, a really good joint. So this lady, she took the whole capsule, and she couldn't move. She couldn't open her eyes. She didn't know where she was, and her sister called me panicking, and I had to de-escalate the situation rather quickly, and I just avoid that at all costs now. So yeah, the microdosing thing, that's the way to go for anybody, especially children or older people or people with little to no experience. The other thing is there's another caretaker that I'm very, very close friends with named Flute Wood. He works out of British Columbia, and he's the exact opposite. If he comes across somebody that needs his help and needs his assistance, he starts them off on 2 grams a day. First dose, 2 grams. He just believes in getting the medicine into them as quickly as possible.
There's somebody who isn't experienced in cannabis, and all of a sudden they're on 2 grams quickly.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't do that.
Right.
But I can tell you his success rate is higher than mine.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It's hit harder at the beginning. Okay, Alicia, you got some more questions?
So is there any rationale behind that, why he does that? Or is it
I think he's
personal practice?
Yes, it's just a personal thing. It's just like very similar to doctors and other caregivers. Some doctors, dribble out medication, and other doctors are, here you go. So every person is different. He's kind of more like the Wild West, and I'm a little bit more reserved because of probably my education, and I'm licensed and everything, and I don't want to risk anything. But yeah, I got a few overdose phone calls that I wish I hadn't gotten.
So when someone is in an overdose situation, like, what is your advice to them?
Very, very simple advice, because I've experienced an overdose situation before, so I completely understand how scary and terrible it can be. So my first advice is to breathe. A lot of people, they get really panicked and they start forgetting to breathe. So the first thing is just sit down somewhere cool, dark, and quiet, and just breathe. Concentrate on breathing. If you have that feeling, like even when you're sitting still, like you're flying through the universe very fast, sit down on the couch and place your hands on a table in front of you, and just it's called grounding. You just need to ground yourself. Look at 3 objects on the ground. A pair of speakers, a TV. A statue or a table. Just bring yourself down. Also, I've heard black pepper, although I'm confused whether it's ingesting it or I've heard some people sniff it, so I'm not sure how to actually use the black pepper. And also drinking orange juice. Anything with a lot of natural sugar in it. For some reason, that seems to kick in the insulin in your system, which kind of makes the body turn away from, oh my god, I'm so high, and then it switches its attention to something else.
And how long does it overdose generally last, or is it just particular to each person?
Well, it can be different. I remember I did a ridiculously huge dab, and I had extreme anxiety for about a good half an hour. And it was really bad because I was driving on the highway. So I had to make a decision whether to keep going and try to get home or pull over on the highway, which brings all kinds of not good attention. So I just mentally talked myself out of it and got home safe.
Yeah, I know about those dabs. Those first dabs.
Yeah.
Some people like to load them up to those experienced people.
Yeah, again, and this is where microdosing, that just comes into play again and again.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Go ahead.
And so I guess at the end of the day, was that like maybe a strain that was kind of like what can be characterized as a creeper? Like it kind of like came on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, thinking back, in high school I had some fantastic creeper. And I'm not sure if it was an indica or sativa or a hybrid, but I distinctly remember... and it was like the pleasant kind of paranoia. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but it kind of creeped up the back of your skull and then went around the front of your head and then hit your eyes, and then all of a sudden you're in grade 11 sitting at your desk, and half an hour after you've medicated at the swings or whatever, you're sitting at your desk and you're just fucked. And excuse my language, but I think we've all been there, and
done it.
It's fantastic. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but Creeper is some really, really, really good stuff. If I could find that again, I would definitely make a bunch of oil.
Okay, now let's see. There's something I want to talk to you after the break about that because that could take a little while. Okay, now when it comes to your company and all that, how does it? What's the process as far as when a patient, or how does a patient contact you, and then what's the process until?
Okay, so when I spent 2 years forming my companies, I literally every single night from, I guess, maybe 1 to 4 a.m., I would think about every other company, successful company that I've ever dealt with, and what I liked about that. And if I could incorporate it into my business, I did. So I'm really big with availability. I like businesses that, are open till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, are open on the weekends, call you back, email you back, respond to you. So I'm one of those businesses where we really do try and put the patient first. No matter, so we offer 3 different things: a consulting, reflexology, or the prescription application process. So those things take time and take some paperwork and some medical history digging. So what I wanted to do is I wanted people to say, here's my money, call me when my appointment's ready to go. I wanted it to be simple, painless, and no work for the patient. Because I had tried to get my prescription for 16 years, and my doctor had given me the runaround. So I know how hard it is to get this. And my first place that I was with was a company named Body Stream, and it was a disaster. So I know what it's like to have a negative experience, trying to get your prescription. So I wanted to take out any possibility of any negative experience and help people get processed quickly. I have heard of 3 and 4 month waiting. My waiting is 1 to 2 weeks.
To get an appointment, or
yep.
from okay.
Start to finish, you pay, and then a week or 2 later you have your appointment.
There you go, and you're in. And you get to see a doctor through Skype, or they talk to you, or are you licensed to sign?
No, I'm not a medical doctor, and right. I am not a nurse practitioner. And in Ontario, those are the only 2 people that can prescribe. Okay. I am approved by Health Canada to do referrals, which means I can write the medical document for the doctor.
Okay. Yeah, I seen that you had said something about certified by Health Canada.
Yes, absolutely.
What exactly is that?
Okay, so when I first started doing this, I had a company called Canadian Cannabis Clinics reach out to me and kind of not threaten me, but they were really concerned with what I was doing, because I was trying to work for everybody. I was referring people to Body Stream, to CCC, to a whole Aurora, a whole host of businesses that were doing what I was doing. And they emailed me and wrote this big letter saying I was unethical and I wasn't licensed, and I with all this accusing me of all this crazy stuff. So before anything got out of control, because I don't like being accused of anything, especially if it's illegal, I called Health Canada and I made them aware of my business and who I was and my education and my background. I also made them aware that I do charge people. I have to. I'm running a business, not a charity. And I just told them everything. I spilled my guts and I told them everything, and it took about an hour. And I asked them, am I allowed to do this? Is this okay? And they put me on hold for about 27 minutes, and it was the longest 27 minutes almost of my life. And they got back to me and said, Miss Brown, we've done a little background, and I've talked to my supervisor, and yeah, absolutely. You can move forward with what you are doing, and we're behind you 100%. And also, they said if anyone ever gives you trouble in the future, call us immediately. And they gave me a reference number to a senior employee. So so I'm approved to give consulting and medical cannabis advice to individuals, families, and companies, and even some medical doctors have hired me for consulting. So it's just fantastic.
And the fact that somebody who needs a medical document, they can actually come and see you.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people are scared. They don't want their doctor knowing they're taking cannabis for whatever reason. Some people they just don't understand the legalities of their own medical files. So when we go to the doctor, we're trained to not look at your file. It's on the back of the door, and it's for the doctor. That's simply not true. Those medical documents and everything in that file is yours. Legally, morally, ethically, they're yours. And you can demand them and ask for them and request them at any time. And they have to give them to you. So the fact that a lot of these doctors' offices are refusing to hand out medical documents for whatever reason is not only illegal, but it's immoral. It's unethical.
Yeah, wrong, and it's wrong.
And this happened to me. It took me 2 years to obtain a letter. All I needed, it was a 1-sentence letter that I had to pay for. It was just to verify that I had anxiety. That's it.
Wow.
And so I understand that people would rather not get legal than talk to their doctor. And that to me is crazy. So I'm able to write the referral letter if they are a patient of mine.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, off to another break. When we get back, Alicia, I'll let you get the first question in there. And just a reminder, we're live here on lifestyleradio.ca as well as Spreaker. If you don't catch the live show, you can catch the podcast at Mixcloud, YouTube, and other social media such as iTunes. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Don't be bitter, just smoke a one-hitter. Whole world's going down the shitter. It don't mean no thing, it ain't another by taking away. Listen to the words that I'm singing.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At B.A.C.E Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. B.A.C.E Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At B.A.C.E Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. B.A.C.E Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
B.A.C.E offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to B.A.C.E Hydroponics and prove it.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a P.A.C.E information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the P.A.C.E Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the P.A.C.E Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Got a pain or two, you don't know what to do. Just listen, my friend, here's what to do. Just smoke this shit and feel amazing. I forget all the hot big farmers alive. Take a big toke, reach for the sky, and baby, just forget it.
Hey, we're back. Thanks for tuning into the program. Tonight, we featured the music of KTB, also known as the Killing Time Band, with the song Don't Be Bitter. These guys have a few, I should say quite a few, cannabis songs. So check them out on YouTube or at their website, killingtimeband.com. Today in the program, we are joined by our guest, Olivia Brown of the Professional Cannabis Consulting Incorporated, and my joint host, Alicia Yashcheshen. Well, ladies, we're into the last segment here, and I'm going to throw the torch over to Alicia so she can come up with the first question.
So earlier in the show, you had mentioned something about Rick Simpson. Can you kind of maybe give us a little bit of an overview of who he is and how our listeners could find him?
Oh, yes. Okay. So Rick Simpson is a Canadian gentleman who in the late 1990s was suffering from a couple different illnesses, and one of his friends told him about cannabis. So he started smoking it and got some minor relief for a head injury, and he got skin cancer on his face near his nose. And his other friend told him, the oil cures cancer. There was some show that had been on W5 or something claiming that, but not a lot of people watched it, unfortunately. So Rick, he put it on his face, and it cured the small patch of skin cancer. So, like me, as soon as he understood the health benefits of this medicine, he exploded and needed to tell everybody. And that's what he did. Unfortunately, it brought a lot of negative attention to him, similar to the raids happening across Canada right now. So Rick's only intent was to help people, because he understood people are dying rapidly for things that they shouldn't be dying of, and age is way too early. So he started growing the cannabis plant on his property and other properties on a large scale. which was the beginning of the end for Mr. Rick Simpson's living in Canada. So he had been brought up on a couple charges. The RCMP raided his house, may have also raided his son's house, I'm not sure. And he caught them. Funny enough, he caught them on video camera, and I've seen the tape. I have seen it. He caught the RCMP planting bags of cannabis on his property that was taken from the house of Darren McCormick, who also lives in Nova Scotia. So,
oh my God!
Yeah,
that's not nice of them.
So it's just crazy. So there's I think there's some court cases coming up and currently happening right now. However, there's no gag order or anything, so I believe I can speak about it. But yeah, they've got caught doing some terrible things to some really, really good people. So Darren McCormick ended up in jail for years. Rick Simpson, he got out of his charges for a whole bunch of reasons that I couldn't explain right now. But not a condition, but I think there was some kind of understanding with the Crown and the defense and Mr. Rick Simpson that he just simply wasn't welcome in Canada. And if he continued to stay in Canada, he's going to wind up in jail, similar to the dispensary owners and workers. So, he's in his 70s. He's not a young man anymore. And he decided, which I think is very smart but very unfortunate, he decided to leave Canada. And he's now remarried. He has a wife now. He's very, very happy. And he's doing quite well. He just did a huge medical conference in Amsterdam, and he's recently been in Germany. I am trying to convince him to come to Canada for one night, and I'm struggling convincing him. He does not want to come back to Canada, which is very, very sad.
Probably
and so is that because of that's because of the government and how they
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm not really sure, completely sure, but I'm pretty sure some of the conversations or the non-conversations were, don't come back, don't try and come back. And he's aware that, the police still want to talk to him, like this very day. They just don't have the money to go extradite him and go get him. And they don't really know what to charge him with because nobody's complaining. So it's a very unfortunate circumstance, but he is one of the ones who sacrificed everything just to get this information out there.
Yeah, I remember I watched the movie quite a few times.
The movie changed my life, to be blunt. Yeah, it just changed everything I had ever thought or hoped or imagined about this plant was solidified in one movie, and I just knew he was telling the truth.
It's he's he's spread the word. He's paid a big price for it. As you said, he left Canada. He left the country he was born in.
He left his son. He left his son. He left his home.
I believe he was Was he a veteran? Was he a veteran? Because
I'm not sure about that, but he left everything that he loved and that was familiar to him. Like, can you imagine like how hard that would be?
Very hard.
So it's a terrible situation.
Yeah. Let's see. Alicia, have you got any more questions on Rick there?
Well, I guess I'm just wondering, in terms of his process, like what made his medicine so phenomenal, or what makes his medicine the cure?
Okay, well, and this is highly controversial, and things have changed rapidly just in 5 years. So when he first started making the medicine, as did I, we were, and I have to be honest, we were using buckets and pieces of wood and naphtha. So I don't have a problem with naphtha. I ingested oil made from naphtha when I was pregnant. It saved my life. However, if you make the oil with naphtha incorrectly, it can be devastating for your health. So a lot of people were making it incorrectly. And I'm pretty sure some people have died, maybe directly or indirectly because of that. So the method a few years ago wasn't the greatest, but because of the solvent, naphtha, I have an understanding of the different solvents and what they do, and what you can agree with me or not, but I know this. So naphtha strips between 90 and 96% of all of the usable cannabinoids from the bud when you squish it and mash it with a stick. No other solvent other than, I think, hexane, CO2, and maybe another not popular method can get those kind of numbers. Alcohol strips about 80% of the usable medicine, and butane actually only strips about 70% of the usable medicine. So, some people think, oh, who cares, I'll just do a second wash and blah, blah, blah. With naphtha, it's the quality of oil you get from correctly making it with naphtha is almost unmatched until a couple years ago, and we started using a CO2 machine, an industrial CO2 extraction machine. So now we are able to offer to very sick people that need it truly organic ingestible cannabis oil with about a 90 to 96% THC testing. So the reason that we got away from the buckets and the wood is because we started lab testing it. I started lab testing my own oil, and the numbers I got were great. I was happy with the numbers, but at the bottom it said there was some bacteria, and there was some other issues. And as a caregiver, I was horrified that I could make something that wasn't perfect. I was beside myself with disappointment and frustration. And I found out that the person that was helping me was keeping the rice cooker in a shed, uncovered, with mice running around. Yay. So I was extremely upset. Like, you have no idea how mad I can get, and I was. And that's another thing that led me to change and become professional. So now, everything is done, not in a backyard and not with rubber buckets and pieces of wood. Now, we're dressed in aprons. We wear mouth guards. We wear gloves. Everything is highly, highly contained and not contaminated. We run it kind of like a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, just constantly cleaning. We clean more than anything.
It's really sanitary.
Absolutely.
When it comes to Rick, I don't know how much you talk to him or anything, but every once in a while I'll see something online or whatever. And, Rick, he started a lot of this, through his movie and talking to people. And RSO, when it comes to the cannabis oil, just became used for basically everything. I don't know whether he ever says, if I make it, all of a sudden I label it RSO.
No, he did not. He didn't do that label. He never wanted that label. Right. That was a label given by the late Jack Hare. Mm-hmm. And Rick immediately objected to it and did not want that label, and it unfortunately it just caught on, which I'm actually glad it did, because there was a lot of confusion. See, at the same time as the cannabis oil started gaining momentum, so did cold-pressed hemp seed oil. So people were getting confused and going to goodness me and buying an $8 bottle of hemp seed oil and chugging it, thinking it was going to cure them of cancer. So there was just a lot of miscommunication. And when you're talking about the high THC, curing cancer and other, terminal diseases, that's the high THC. And then there's no mixing it up anymore.
At that point. So, Alicia, we got about 10 minutes here or less, 5 minutes.
Okay. I just want to touch on CBD because there's this new, push in the cannabis industry that CBD is the cat's ass. Can you kind of explain the difference between THC and CBD and whether it is a cat's ass?
Yeah, okay. So there's a whole bunch of THC is one of them. There's a whole bunch of CBDs, CBDN, CBG. There's I think 57, probably more. So they're all good. I have yet to meet anyone that has successfully cured cancer with a CBD oil. So that tells me it's not. That tells me that THC is needed for this medicine to work as well as some people need it to work. However, a few years ago, I was not a fan of CBD. I was not a believer in it until I tried a Relax CBD patch. And that made my skeletal structure completely straighten out. And the only one ailment that I actually did have was a rotator cuff. I wasn't getting full rotation. And about an hour after putting this patch on, I was back to 100%. And I hadn't been able to do that in about a year. And it was from sleeping on my side and the wrong way with my, arm under my head and probably, carrying 2 kids around all the time. But it was getting to the point where I wasn't sure what to do, if I was going to require surgery or if I had to go to acupuncture. I didn't know. But as soon as I took this patch and put it on my body, I was fine. So that was really surprising. And ever since then, I've been an advocate for CBD for some things, not everything.
I sort of look at it as it needs a little bit of everything in order to make the medicine work.
Yeah, I think isolating certain molecules from anything is not the best idea. I really think nature knows what it's doing. And if, it's the message is pretty easy. Grow the plant, make the oil, eat the oil. That's all you have to do. People getting all bent out of shape about what solvent and what CBD, there's such thing as, overanalyzing. And I think some people are really getting caught up in that, and they're missing the point, which is just make the oil and eat the oil. That's all they have to do. This plant knows what it's doing, and if there's so many strains to choose from, the best oil I ever made had a 22% CBD level, which I've never seen in oil from anyone else. And I used 12 different strains in that batch, and I know it was so CBD rich because of the 12 different strains. People just don't have access to 12 different strains, to make oil like that.
Yeah. That's right.
So I understand.
All right, Alicia, go ahead.
So is that something you provide your clients then with, is that availability of different strains, like in the oil? So no 2 batches of your oil is ever the same, I suspect.
Yeah, so in every growing operation, there's a 3 or 4 month cycle. So we do see some of the strains over and over, but only if they're successful. If we get huge, successful reactions from people with certain strains, then they get, of course, they get clipped and they get grown again. So we were experimenting with a higher CBD. There are some, 1-to-1 ratio, and that's fantastic. I wasn't seeing the health benefits with the high CBD oil like I was with the high THC. So we've reevaluated where our efforts are best put, and we've decided to go back to strictly high THC.
And so do you think that there's still that misconception or demand within, I guess even society, that everyone wants CBD, or is that kind of hype kind of died down now, you think?
Oh no, this seems to be a cycle of about every couple 100,000 people. So as you know, things kind of get really hyper for a couple weeks and then they slow down for about a month. So that's people keep finding out about this. So it's never going to go away. It's just actually going to keep gaining momentum. So in our little circles, everyone knows about cannabis, but that's not the case in the rest of the world. There's other people still finding out about it for the first time, like today.
That's true.
So yeah, so it's not going away. But yeah, I just want to be clear that CBD is a great, wonderful thing. I have seen it turn people's lives around. So it's a wonderful thing, and I'm definitely a fan of CBD.
Awesome.
You can see where in some of the parents with the young children, where I've been able to read some of the comments where, that they agree with the CBD to help them with the epilepsy, but they say that there needs to be some THC in there as well. So
yeah, there has to be, especially when you're working with babies and children and even fetuses. They've actually done some studies where a fetus born with THC in its system has a 50% lower mortality rate, which is mind-boggling if you take countries like Uganda or Kenya, where their infant mortality rate is so high. One simple ingredient could turn a country around. So it's just, this is stuff that can't be ignored, and I'm really sad that there's this misconception with high THC somehow being damaging to a young developing brain. It's actually quite the opposite. It helps fetuses grow. It just does nothing but good. And I understand as a parent and as a caregiver, seeing a child in an overdose situation is the last thing a parent wants to see. It's terrifying. But again, microdosing, you can't deny children this amazing medicine just because you're uncomfortable with it. I don't care what you're comfortable with. This is your child's health.
And like they say, they're worried about the developing brain. Well, you tell me how much damage is being caused by the pharmaceuticals and allowing that child to go through seizures.
That's a whole other episode.
That's a whole other episode and story, because we're down to the last few minutes here. So basically, this is a time or an opportunity for you to throw a shout out to a person, place, a thing, highlight a website, your own website, so on and so forth.
Okay, well, actually, I owe a lot to my friend and publicist, Tracy Lamore. She is a public relations genius. She works out of Hamilton, Ontario. She's very familiar with Toronto, Ontario, Chatham, Ontario, and surrounding provinces. She's very well known. Her client list is huge, and she has taken a huge part into where I am today.
Nice. Yes, we know Tracy very well.
Yeah.
We've had her on the program before, and usually we run into her while we're out and about doing one of those road shows. So
yeah, I owe her a lot.
Good. All right. Alicia.
Hi.
Have you got a shout out for somebody or something?
I do. I would like to thank Olivia for coming on the show today and being here and sharing her wealth of information. It's much appreciated. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
And my shout out goes to Dozer. I never met Dozer other than seeing Dozer on Facebook. Dozer has passed on, and it's an unfortunate situation, but we'll remember the photos of seeing him on Facebook for sure. So my shout out is to Dozer. Rest in peace, buddy. All right.
Is Dozer the one that had the tumor in his mouth?
Yes, that was Heidi's dog. Yeah. Yeah, I saw her post today in the night, so I shared it on my wall. And even coming into the show tonight, I've been seeing it flash on my screen when people are still hitting the little sad faces or the crying or they're still commenting. I had one 3 minutes ago. I can see that right here on my screen. Oh, so sorry to hear that. He put up a hell of a fight. And these are people, like I don't know the dog, and these people don't know the dog, but they're able to follow the story like I did. And it was he put up a big fight, that's for sure. So,
and he came to his own death today, then?
I believe Heidi had him put down today. Today or yesterday, yeah.
Well, he's in doggy heaven now.
Yes, he is. It was a quick turn. It was a quick turn of events. He passed something through his nostril. It was like a pea-sized thing, and from that point on, he seemed to gotten worse. So with a lot of bleeding going on as well. So, yeah, the pictures were getting a little bit, but she was showing things. Things were documented, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You can find P.A.C.E on Twitter at P.A.C.E Radio. You can also like us on Facebook. We're also as the P.A.C.E Radio Show. We're on Instagram, and you can find us online at pace-online.ca, where you can send us a message and get some free stuff. Thank yous go to our sponsors, the friendly folks at BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, BMAHydroponics.com. To CC Nexus. They can be found at ccnexus.global. LRAP, man behind the baggie, here at Lifestyle Radio. Always thankful for him. And to you, Olivia, thank you for coming on the program and talking to us about everything that you've been doing. And
thank you for having me.
And your company, Professional Cannabis Consulting Incorporated?
Yes, thank you.
And big thank you to you, Alicia, for everything you've been doing. You jumped into here with 2 feet, and you've just been plowing ahead and getting guests. It's been great.
Oh, thanks.
And I always like to thank our listeners. It's always appreciated to them for coming on to listening to the program. And also thank you to Wayne here for Canada's for giving us a spot to do the radio show in the front window of the store. So, all right. Thank you. And good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.